I am being lazy and recording this video in Photo Booth, which just basically means I'm not going to edit it ever, but I pretty much do that all the time now. Anything I do at this point is just a straight just talking vlog. It's easier on me to not spend the time editing. Just updating because Jackie's out of the house and not necessarily because anything's on my mind. I saw the Susan yesterday. We talked about a few things. Nothing major. Not really talking about the major stuff. It's like I write an email at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm super depressed, and that's what we talk about. And sometimes I don't remember what I wrote when I get in there because I can write our emails. That's usually what we go off of because when I get there, my brain, the blank. So that's what I'm doing. I have a fever. Not just a Lyme fever, but like 102-degree fever. Rock on. I think it was 103 last night. My ears feel like they're killing me. It hurts to touch them. It hurts to hear. It's just painful. I really need to wear my retainer because my teeth are separating and it's really upsetting me. Yay! Joys of implants! Anyway. This right here, this makes it all better. This is chocolate milk in a green glass. Yeah. I'm running fluids right now. Took 2 attempts to get this stupid thing in me, but it went in finally this morning on the 2nd attempt. Not so painful, I guess, in the scheme of things. There it is. The needle's about there. And these are the butterflies. You pull them up and together, and that's how you pull it out. Oh yeah, if you're wheezy, or queasy, or wheezy, or sleazy, or whatever, you shouldn't have watched that. Glad to see that Michael has made a return to the YouTube. However, agoraphobic or adjective. Uneventful it was. I enjoyed it. I didn't really have any expectations for your video. I really never have any expectations. And sometimes I'm blown away, and sometimes it's just Michael. And those of you who watch Michael know what I mean. But I'm never surprised by anything you do, so just so you know that. Maybe there's a few things you could do to surprise me, but you'd have to talk to me to get me to think of that list. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of trans videos lately. A lot of food for thought and things I'm thinking about. I've been watching a lot of Ami's videos, who is I think about 4 months into transition on T. I've watched some of Zach's videos, of course, watching Carson's videos, who's, I don't know, like, just a super cool guy, and I think I've watched some of, quite a bit of Hey Jude's older videos. I feel like we sort of have a lot in common as far as, like, the genderqueer thing, and I know a lot of people don't talk about it. The queer word, I understand that it's a word that's been reclaimed by our community, but perhaps because of really negative past personal experiences, it's not a word that I personally have really been able to reclaim. That, and I've never really been a fan of the D word. Yeah, anybody who can do American Sign Language can figure out what it is, because I don't really say it. I'm just not a fan of it, but there were 2 things that were constantly used to sort of taunt me through high school, and I know in some ways that I should be able to just reclaim them and take pride in my identity in sort of umbrella term that is queer, but it's sort of hard for me. But as far as sort of and genderqueer is so interesting because people have such different definitions of what it is, but I think my personal definition is probably really close to Jude's definition of it, which is sort of, it's sort of an umbrella term, but for me it's sort of something different as far as the way I feel about it. Anyway, so that's sort of a weird thing for me. And I've never really identified, and I've heard actually other trans people talk about not really identifying with the word lesbian so much because it has such female connotations, and I never did. I mean, when I came out to my mom, it wasn't, hey mom, I'm a lesbian, it was, hey mom, I'm gay. It's a more comfortable word for me, and it's semantics, but it's sort of like, you know, our words that we choose are very much a representation of ourself and our identity. And another thing that I think Jude mentioned is that your body isn't necessarily your identity, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about because it's very simple to state it, and your body's not your gender, I guess, obviously. It's so simple to say it, but it's not. And I sort of think at this point, oh, somebody else I watch is Kale, who is Committed to Mars. His videos really, really get me to think about a lot of things. And maybe that's his history in teaching, in having a lot of education on the topic, and being in the position of educating others as a professor. So maybe that's sort of why his videos, I think, the most have sort of forced me to reevaluate and to think about things that I want. And gender is, I wish I could put a percentage on it, but I think there's sort of a percentage of like your personal construct of your gender and then the social construct of your gender. And I feel like at this point, I am sort of more interested in being able to deal with my personal sort of construct and changing it to be what I want, and sort of once I can get to that point and to be happy, you know, top surgery, whatever else, hysterectomy, I guess, or oophorectomy, or whatever, that, so no periods. I feel like maybe some of the social construct will change as well. I'm not necessarily sure that will happen, but it's, but when guys talk about passing, I think a lot of passing is about your confidence and sort of how you enter into the world. Not always. But I'm a very different person than I was 4 or 5 years ago when I passed pretty easily. Without trying, I was just so interesting about it, and now the only thing I want to do is just to be left alone. I'd be perfectly happy to notice that somebody is trying not to pick pronouns with me. That's cool. That's perfectly cool. I'm tired of the fucking ladies, girls, ma'am. I get ma'amed on the phone all the time. I don't understand it. Everybody I've talked to about my voice says that I have this sort of androgynous, sort of gender neutral voice or whatever. Apparently not. I've never had anybody sir me on the phone. Maybe they were confused and didn't use any pronouns, but usually I get ma'amed. Maybe it's because I live in the South, but I really don't think so. Anyway, as you can see, the gender kind of always on my mind. It's just something that is there now, and it's pretty much impossible to make it go away. Not that I want it to go away, it's this sort of frustration of feeling like I've already been on this exhausting journey, and I'm already being thrust into this other journey, and I guess maybe that's an odd and very interesting metaphor for the way life is, that you don't get any breaks. but it's rough. Anyway, I'm doing alright. I've got a needle on my chest and I'm hanging out, running some fluids. I've got my chocolate milk, and hopefully this stupid infection or whatever it is will go away. You guys take care. I will see you later.